Boker Tov, Yom Tov, Zoharim Tovim, and Laila Tov. Good morning, good day, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Carrie, and I am going to speak from my heart once again today. I had posted a response to somebody's question, and this was a couple days ago, and I had another subscriber say that this was exactly what they were looking for, this answer. So again, I am going to share this with the rest of you, especially since we have quite a few new subscribers to our channel that might be asking or wondering why we are talking about mother and father and what does this really mean. So I'm just going to read this comment to you, and I hope that it answers some questions for those of you that are new to our channel. Mother and father are one and the same. They are one coin with two faces dependent upon our maturation process. In the earth, parents are to represent this and take the roles assigned to them to raise up their children in the way that they are to go. So earthly mother takes on the role of the spiritual mother. What mother is trying to do is to tame the beast ego by yoking it. This is done by teaching the child to behave in the golden rule. And you can consider this as the 10 Commandments, as this is part of her teaching. Her job is to get the child to be within the external rules and components. That will provide a safe environment around the child as it is learning to treat others the way that it wants to be treated. She also teaches the basic elementary principles of the language so that the child can see that there is a spiritual journey that it must take. Her teachings through the Spirit are linear in design, teaching the divine masculine, hence why the spirit journey literally starts with the Aleph through the Tav, one letter at a time. This is then used for the child to judge their advancement. Linear, black and white, duality preparation, as that is where we live, in duality. It is all about the external orientation. Mother becomes an adversary when the child is doing things that are not becoming of the golden rule. Whatever is set forth within the family to bring order back, as the goal, which is always to tame the beast, and yoking it so that it is operating in love with conditions, also known as boundaries. This is all about preparing the child to be able to function within society. If the child steps out of those boundaries, there are going to be disciplinary actions to correct the external elements that were not meeting the golden rule status. These are spirit teachings that have a measurement that needs to be met. If a child meets this requirement and operates in the golden rule, and this is usually done by the age of 12, this is now a child at the age of accountability. If the child passes inspection, there will be a change in their frequency so that others will feel safe around the child. And this also, think about it applying to adults as well. I'm just sharing what is the way that we should raise our children, but first we have to get there. This frequency change happens when the child or adult becomes the golden rule. It is part of their identity. The beast ego then has been yoked and tamed, and the child, adult, has learned to serve others using the golden rule as its guiding principle. Mother and her teachings through the mother spirit is to prepare the child to become the bride, ready to be betrothed, set apart. Then the other face presents itself of the same coin, father. This is when the child, an adult, is turned over to the father's instruction, which is the esoteric side of the language. The entire goal of this teaching is to progress the child, adult, into the place of becoming unconditional love as a sovereign being, and having become the head of their own temple instead of the beast ego ruling them. This teaching brings in the divine feminine, spiral thinking, which is the other portion necessary for balance within creation and within our own divine being. This process is to prepare them to be the wife as married. Not only does this set them up for the physical pairing aspect, but ultimately it is about the spiral or the spiritual aspect to bring balance within that can be translated without into the physical marriage. If both partners can achieve this status before having children, then those children will be blessed, having been born into a stable and loving family of sovereigns that have freed themselves from the beast system, which means the child does not have to live in a system based on fear, control, and manipulation. It is like creating an entirely different reality for them, so they do not have to sink into the waters of chaos, but rather rise above them, staying on top. When this measure is achieved, then another frequency change occurs within, which will draw people to this love if they are of the light. If they are of the darkness, however, they will shrink away from it. This is a very powerful place to be, and that is why the measurement standard here is meekness, the power of unconditional love under control. There's a theme here. If parents are in unconditional love, boundaries are necessary for their children because they have to assist them in taming and yoking the child's beast nature. Boundaries are no longer necessary once all parties involved have become unconditional love. But if someone is still operating just in the golden rule, the beast ego has not been eradicated yet, so precautions must still be taken. Fear can still creep in. It is only when fear is cast out, which then casts out the beast ego, that people will truly be safe from one another. So, to answer the question that was presented after that foundation, the true adversary is the beast ego. It has a name called Satan, which is the Hebrew word for adversary. It lives and resides within us from the moment we were born, as it is attached to the ego. Without proper rearing, as mentioned above, it will become the beast ego. That is where the mother spirit becomes the adversary to the beast ego. She will fight against, cause tribulations in life of all sorts until the individual can get this out of control ego to be tamed and yoked. But until then, there will be many calamities externally until that happens. She can use nature, people, governments, the law, whatever is necessary to get you back into order, to tame the beast, Satan, within. Once this happens, she, as the spirit of mother, is your best friend. She will protect you, guard you, and prop you up as you enter into Father's teachings. She will fight for you, just like a mother bear does for her cubs. So in the world today, Mother Spirit is waking people up using the governments of the world to put pressure upon the people, which is meant to not only wake them up, but to get them to go inside of themselves to find the resolve. Mother's, Father's Spirit source is only concerned about us rising up out of the beast system and establishing sovereign love. But we still have so much violence in this world, and as a people, we are not walking in the minimum requirement of the Golden Rule, hence Torah. Torah is not what the English presents it to be, by the way. We are now getting to the point where Father's teachings are now being released, as there are those who have raised their vibrational frequency up high enough and have been walking in the Golden Rule long enough so that it is now safe to have the esoteric side of these teachings come forth in our present day. Father has no wrath, as Father Spirit Source is unconditional love. So the only adversaries we will face are the beast ego, Satan within, and Mother Spirit as the gatekeeper to Father. Think of Mother Nature here as well. Defiance against the Golden Rule will always bring about a heavy hand, as you are not safe for others to be around you. And honestly, the only way for us to escape tribulation is to become one with the Father. Otherwise, we will go through it. The real issue here is that we do not remember that we are eternal beings. The beast, Satan, adversary within only survives within our flesh. It needs our vessel to exist. It is the one afraid of death, and then transfers that fear to us. Then we fear death and want to protect our life at all costs, even if it costs us our humanity. The truth is that we are eternal beings, so death is an illusion. We shed this flesh for another until we no longer need flesh and become spirit in totality. Those who have achieved oneness can simply slip out of their body without the sting of death and transcend it. This is Merkaba activation, or what the Tibetan monks call the rainbow body, as the energy body of light. Once you achieve oneness, there is no fear of death, because there is no fear, just love. This is also when the veil is rent, and you remember who you are and all the incarnations you have had. So even if one is caught up in the tribulation, having achieved this, they will simply let the energy of their body leave the shell and transfer it to another form elsewhere. The first law of thermodynamics, in which energy cannot be created and destroyed. It is, and all that happens is it just gets transferred from one form to another. We should all work on achieving oneness in unity consciousness. Then it will not matter what happens in the lesser density narrative, because we know that we will end up in a better place, in a higher dimension, without the lower vibrational frequency entities that have been using and controlling us anywhere around and everywhere. They will be no more, because they will not have the beast ego, Satan, within us to attach to. We have already been shifting in our house as we have peace, and have had this for a while now. That is why it is so strange for us to see what is going on outside, because our reality isn't even close to what happens in the world below. We have been moving out of the chaotic waters below and have been seated in the Father's water above, in Shalom. And to finish up, the question was answered if we are to then be praying to Mother. So as far as prayer goes, Mother and Father are the same as Source and Creator. It makes no difference who you pray to, Mother or Father. It will be from the place of where you are at in the moment. It is the heart condition that matters, and Source knows this. I hope this answers some questions for those of you who are new to our channel. And for those of you who have been here for a while, it's probably a good remembering. We like to teach through inculcation. That's why many concepts we repeat over and over again, as that is actually the way the Hebrews were taught, cyclically. And this allows the foundation to be firmly established, so more training, more instruction, more revelation can be placed upon it. This is truly what we speak of about compressing light within the circle of time. Year through year, inculcation, as we take in more information to help us in our transformation. So thank you very much. I hope this finds you well. I look forward to having more incredible conversations with all of you, and be looking forward to classes starting hopefully in the spring, if I can get everything set in order so that we can teach you the Father's esoteric side. For those of you who are wanting to prepare for this, I suggest that you learn the shapes of the letters and their Paleo-Hebrew meanings. Jeff Benner at Ancient Hebrew Resource Center is a very good place to start. There are many others, but that should give you what you need to start this process. Shalom, shalom, and namaste.